So then we're going to move on to the third step, the third core step with the daily plan. How many times have you asked yourself, where did all that money go? Where do you want it to be going? I mean, even with keeping really detailed records of whether it's your check register or you're reviewing your online bank statements regularly or your credit card statements, you often still don't always get a clear answer to that question, where's the money going? Is the spending, and then thinking about, is the spending in alignment with your values and priorities wherever all this money is going? Is the spending really bringing me true satisfaction and fulfillment? And the phrase I heard one time that I love is, would you rather have a piece of furniture or peace of mind? So if you've tracked your spending before and you often gave up, it's probably because you really didn't know quite what to do with that information other than look at it and then possibly tell your spouse, hey, you're spending too much on the house or the kids, or hey, you're spending too much on your hobbies, your computer, your electronics, your bike. And now you get to see where that tracking information fits into a broader plan and what to do with that expense information. I mean, you probably already have your own app or notebook or spreadsheet or Mint or some other software for tracking your spending, which is probably just fine and a good fit for you. But let me move to this third step and see how it dovetails with your own approach. We're going to look at another worksheet here, and this is a sample of a monthly expense record. And I realize, okay, this is a lot to take in, so just stay with me here. This worksheet is basically another tool from the budget kit for gaining a better understanding of the core concept of your tracking. Now, the purpose of this worksheet in any tracking system is to have a true record of all your monthly spending. And I mean all spending. That includes things like your debits, your cash, your credit card charges, your auto pays, your withdrawals, your checks, your online payments, all of that information. And the main thing I want to draw your attention to on this worksheet is the section with the categories for capturing all of that. There's major categories of food, household, transportation, personal health, recreation. So you've got some broad categories, and then within all the categories, like food actually has 3 sections of groceries and then fast food dining out, and then all the snacks and beverages, water, just a way to break that down. Household can break that down. Transportation, there's ways to break that down. So there's a lot of different ways that you can track the spending. Now, some people use their own categories as a guide for designing or modifying their own software or their own Excel categories or Excel spreadsheet categories. But these are just some ideas to help you make sure you've covered what applies to you. And you'll see it's a pretty comprehensive list. Although I've seen even more comprehensive categories in other materials that are out there, or even with my clients who go into really great detail. But the way this sheet is set up, people often say these categories seem to be more intuitive. And a lot of that did come from sitting at those kitchen tables and recognizing how people normally organize their thinking. Plus, it allows for flexibility for customizing your own system. Now, I also want to mention that I'm not a bookkeeper, and this concept and this worksheet was never designed to be an exact bookkeeping tool where everything matches and balances to the penny, because it probably won't, and it probably will never balance. So you can relax if that's bothering you. This worksheet is really designed to provide a tool for paying attention to your day-to-day spending, no matter how that money is spent. If you're charging expenses on your credit cards, like these yellow entries are showing, they're just showing which ones were on a credit card, then obviously the total of your expenses is going to be probably greater than the total of your income when it comes to the end of the month. Over here we have total expenses, and here we have total income. And I'm all about learning visually. When you visually see all these expenses scattered throughout the worksheet versus a nice, tidy little software report, You see exactly, but in a different way, just where all the money has really gone for the whole month and what your lifestyle and your spending habits are actually costing you. So you'll see that you have charges and then you'll show debits and you'll show checks. You show all of the spending that's going on, cash. So if you're pulling out your 40 bucks from the ATM or at the grocery store, where's that money being spent? So you have a way of showing all of that. And then at the very bottom, you'll have a total with your groceries and a total with your fast food and a total with your gas. You're going to have a total for all those expenses. You'll have fixed expenses. And then in the end, we've got a total expense. Now this one, the total is 5,173. But then if you take money for your goals and your emergency and your reserve account, you add that because that's a fixed expense, you're really spending $6,400 here. And then when you notice how the income just doesn't cover all those things, you can better understand and see how much your life and lifestyle is truly costing each month over here and here. Now, whether the money's actually coming out of your checking account at the moment or spilling onto your card or onto a new loan, you're getting to see the real situation and be more realistic about your personal lifestyle and how you're handling your money, your patterns, your thinking, your attitude, and all of those habits. So again, you'll be able to ultimately decide if this spending is in alignment with your financial goals, your values, your priorities, and is it bringing you true satisfaction and fulfillment. Also, now you probably have a better idea how there can be a lot more to this concept of just tracking your money. Now, also, as I finish this final third core step, I realize this is a lot of information in a short time. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I spend a few hours covering this in greater depth. People are certainly capable of working out all of these systems on their own, but I find that the majority of people I work with have so many other parts of their lives to juggle that they often find it's just a relief to have a third party kind of handhold them quickly through the process. So if you personally would like more help with your own situation, I do have a package and I'll show you that. And so I'm going to just kind of go over my commercial here briefly where I offer a package, a financial coaching package special. It's 3 hours of working with me. We'll review your cash flow, your finances, jumpstart that yearly periodic expense that I went over in the beginning. Will also help outline a monthly spending plan for the current month as well as use it as a template that you can modify for each month. I'll do follow-up phone calls and check-ins with emails 1 to 2 months. The Budget Kit ebook and worksheets would be part of that. Plus, I have a bonus 10-year planner, which is a great way to look at not just those yearly periodic expenses for the upcoming year, but how does that telescope out to 10 years for the car, for the kids being gone, and for your home, and for the various expenses that are going to be coming up. And then the print book, if you're interested in if you don't have the Budget Kit print book, you can always go to Amazon or go to the bookstores, and it's always available there. If you want just the products electronically, they're available on my website for $25. So the whole total is a value of $560, and I'm offering a special webinar discount of $375. And I would love to work with you. And so be sure to contact me right away. Allow me to help you to get this year financially on track and to really help you get a handle on your finances again. So let me go ahead and just summarize what these three concepts are again. For creating a cash flow, we're going to start with the yearly budget worksheet, where we have our periodic expenses and a yearly plan for anticipating those periodic expenses. Again, that was this whole idea of all the different possible ways that that periodic expenses can occur. We see a total, we see an average, and then we have the idea of a full total for all of that, and then dividing it by a monthly amount, where I recommend that you outline these periodic non-monthly expenses and have a plan for covering them somehow. A reserve savings account is certainly one way. But again, this is not your monthly budget. These are expenses above and beyond that monthly budget. Think of this as that missing link to your budget. And then you have the monthly picture where you're projecting, forecasting. You have a plan for outlining all those possible expenses that are going to be coming up for the month. And again, that was just looking at our fixed expenses, our fixed variable, those occasional expenses. And you're going to actually create something from your projected expenses for a particular month. You're not going to be using averages on every category. You're going to use what you know, or you're going to use the best figures that you can. And this too is a projection that you're doing ahead of time that can help you better be prepared for the actual month when it comes. And I know it doesn't seem like it, but I've used this tool enough over literally the decades with clients to see what an empowering tool it is. And then finally, that daily picture, that tracking your spending leaks, a system for finding all of those spending leaks. This was kind of showing you a huge kind of visual ways to put it together, and there's lots of apps and lots of different programs that are out there. The key thing is to have something and to use it. And the key difference with this tracking approach and then that monthly budget planning approach is that this tracking is your live current information. This is really where the money's going. That previous worksheet where we were kind of planning out the month, that's a projection ahead of time before the month of what you thought and estimated the month would cost, but this is showing you the real expense. And at the end of the month, you can compare your projection on that monthly worksheet to the actual total of expenses here. Our total expenses here for this sample was a little over $6,400, and the projection was showing that you thought the expenses were going to be about $5,100. So the projection was off, but it at least helps you be prepared that you're planning ahead of time for that. And then finally, the whole idea of having a plan is to help you be able to spend money without guilt and save money with more ease. And that, again, is not spend without a plan, it's spend with a plan, but spend without guilt. And in that process, you'll develop some empowering tools and attitudes and behaviors and a very solid financial foundation for your family. And for information, you're welcome to send me an email, Judy@moneytracker.com, or you can always go to my website, moneytracker.com, and leave a message there. And I wish you a great abundance and true financial peace of mind for the year. And I want to thank you for listening to this webinar recording. And may this be one of your best financial years yet.